Hey there, this is Jenoa, and I am with Dr. Frankie on the Sex Talk. So today we're going to talk about, does marriage work? Does it work? I mean, over 50% of marriages end in divorce. Right now there's a huge contingency of gay and lesbian people that are fighting to get marriage and get all of the federal benefits that come with marriage, which are very important. But really, if we look at it, does marriage work?
Yeah, so, in my practice, I've been practicing for over a decade, and I have found that a lot of people in longer-term relationships struggle with just, being monogamous, feeling like they have lost the momentum, the energy, the sexual tension, the excitement, and they feel sort of stuck, where they love their partner, they're happy in the lives they've built, but there's this lacking, and they're trying to figure out, well, how do we keep this going? How do we make this work? I'm not feeling totally fulfilled is what I hear from a lot of my clients. It's like there's something missing. So recently I heard some talk about this concept of having a contract, like a 7-year contract. And I think they probably came up with that based on the 7-year itch. So it's a contract that you can renew. Instead of thinking, till death do us part, that this is going to be...
Which is so unrealistic. I don't know where that... Well, it came from whatever, some kind of religious tradition, but I don't think that's... What is forever? Like, how can you say forever? That makes no sense to me. I've never understood that.
I mean, it's really kind of not that... I just think it's not that realistic.
It's weird and archaic, and we're not property anymore. Women are not property.
We're also living much longer.
Yes. Not forever is longer now, people. God.
So, what forever was,
25. You used to die at like 35. You would get married at 19 or 15 and say forever, and then you'd be dead at 35. It worked out just fine. Right?
So what's the likelihood, of you being with your partner that you married or you started dating when you were in your early 20s?
Well, not for me.
Not for me either.
No.
So, I really, it really got me thinking, and I don't think it's a bad idea, because what it helps you do is reevaluate, and not really, hopefully not take things for granted, and not feel stuck, at that point at 7 years, that's a good, it's a good amount of time, you definitely get to know your partner pretty well in 7 years.
Yeah.
And there are still things that I'm learning about my partner. We've been together 10.5 years, so...
Wow.
Here and there I'll find oh my gosh, I didn't know that about you, or I didn't realize that you felt that way.
That must be surprising.
It is. It is. And it's interesting for me because this is the longest relationship I've ever been in, and it informs me in the work that I do with my clients, because I can honestly say it's it takes a really long time to really get to know somebody. And I think 7 years, yeah, you have a pretty good sense of who this person is. Okay. The good, bad, the ugly, right?
Now, do you renew after 7? Do you have a formal meeting at 7 years and everybody knows they have a chance to renew or deny the contract?
Yeah, I think it's
it's
hey,
realistic.
It's coming up. We're coming up on our 7 years. Maybe come in and talk to somebody like me, a psychologist or a coach, and sit down and say, hey, we're coming up on it, and we want to kind of reevaluate and see where we are. And
so, what about polyamory? So, if you don't want to do the 7-year contract, but you've lost it, is polyamory an option?
Yeah. So, in my practice, and I can only speak for my experience in my practice with couples that explore polyamory.
Open relationships, multiple partners, that sort of thing.
Which is open and communicated. So it's not behind anybody's back. So it's, loving, Polyamory is you can love more than one partner. For some, it's having more than one partner, that kind of thing. And for a lot of people, it's a real struggle. It's I think it goes against the way that we're wired. We tend to be, to varying degrees, jealous.
No.
Fear abandonment.
No.
Feel threatened.
Really?
No matter how evolved we are and how much reflection and work we've done, it's just part of our makeup. It's part of who we are as human beings.
Yes.
And I think it keeps us safe. It keeps us, so... I think that polyamory works for some people, but I think it's really, really difficult for most people. And I think when they decide to do away with it and move away from polyamory, it's because they're burnt on trying to process and communicate and deal with the feeling of just feeling unsafe in a relationship.
All the time.
All the time.
And never quite sure what's going to pop up, like, is my partner going to be attracted to my best friend now? Like, oh God, it's so much work to do.
And the boundaries, you know, it's like, even though you communicate about, you know, your boundaries, my boundaries, it's like, we're different people, and it's the subtlety that, like, can get people really caught up, like, the subtle differences in my perception of what that boundary looked like versus yours. So it just, there's so much to kind of focus on. I think people just get completely lost in all of that and have a hard time steering clear of stepping over a boundary.
Okay. So I love this idea of new marriage. I love the idea of a contract. What about having a contract every year? Could you do that? I mean, you can make whatever rules you want.
I think it's up to you. You know, as an individual, as a couple, together, I think it would be, you know, a good idea to discuss it and find, you know, a certain number of time, a length of time that works for you. You know?
So I love this idea of new marriage. I love the idea of getting real about things that are real anyway, and actually talking about them. And you heard it here on the Sex Talk.